She keeps bringing up your age lately. What do you say about that?
Well, I think I'm a lot sharper than her. I would do this. I would sit down right now and take an aptitude test, and it would be my result against her result, and she's not going to win.
Comes here, she gets like 9 people, and the press never reports the crowd, you know. By the way, they never report the crowd on January 6th. You know, Nikki Haley, it's like Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people.
This is the guy that was blaming Nikki Haley for January 6th and couldn't. If he's off the teleprompter, this is not Donald Trump of 2016, guys.
So,
if he's off the teleprompter, he can barely keep a cogent thought. I mean, that's just fact.
Oh, that's gotta hurt!
This guy is nearly 80 years old. Thank you for your
77.
service. Yeah, that's nearly 80. We'll do math later, but down to the
I want to see you debate Donald Trump.
I would pay to do that if that coward would get on the stage with anybody.
No name
Any of us would love to. Please.
We don't do the name calling.
Yes, that was a Fox News host crying about name calling in regards to Donald Trump.
You recently called and bar a gutless pig. You called your White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, weak and ineffective and born with a very small brain. You called your acting White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, a born loser. You called your first Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, dumb as a rock. And your first Defense Secretary, James Mattis, the world's most overrated general.
Irony had no tears left to weep.
You cannot say you're in a presidential campaign, but be too afraid to get on the debate stage and defend him.
It seems that the Sununu-Trump feud has got juicier, and while I'm no fan of the Republican governor of New Hampshire, he covered Trump's clear and consistent mishaps in a way most media outlets blatantly won't, especially the network he was on, which that alone is worth a watch.
I think I'm a lot sharper than her. I would do this. I would sit down right now and take an aptitude test, and it would be my result against her result, and she's not going to win. She's not going to even come close to winning.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, this is the guy that was blaming Nikki Haley for January 6th and couldn't. If he's off the teleprompter, this is not Donald Trump of 2016, guys.
So,
if he's off the teleprompter, he can barely keep a cogent thought. I mean, that's just fact.
But you've seen him in person probably more times.
I've worked with him very closely. He is not the same guy. This is not Donald Trump.
He didn't
on
have a
his
prompter
fastball.
last night.
Yeah, look, this guy is nearly 80 years old. Thank you for your
77.
service. Yeah, that's nearly 80. We'll do math later, but look,
Now, while his Republican colleagues are bending themselves any which way to deflect from the fact Trump continues to confuse Nancy Pelosi with Nikki Haley, thinks he's running against Obama, and that Jeb Bush got us into Iraq.
Politics now, and this moment, campaign trail.
You know, when she comes here, she gets like 9 people, and the press never reports the crowd, you know. By the way, they never report the crowd on January 6th. You know, Nikki Haley, they turned it down. They don't want to talk about that.
That isn't a mix-up. The reality is Nikki Haley is relying on Democrats, just like Nancy Pelosi, to try to have a desperate showing in New Hampshire.
Wait, but he was talking about January 6th.
President Trump has not lost a step. He is a stronger candidate, stronger than he is today, than he was in 2016 and he was in 2020. Compare that to Joe Biden's weakness.
I can't tell you how disappointed I feel every time I see her talk.
She's a clown.
Republican Congresswoman Elise
A clown. He confuses Barack Obama. He thinks he's running against Barack Obama, Elise, and you know it. And if you say anything otherwise, you're lying through your teeth.
All while going on unhinged tangents like whatever this is.
We're also going to place strong protections to stop banks and regulators from trying to debank you from your political beliefs, what they do. They want to debank you, and we're going to debank. Think of this. They want to take away your rights. They want to take away your country. The things they're doing, all electric cars, give me a break. If you want an electric car, good, but they don't go far. They're very expensive. They're going to be...
Well, the New Hampshire governor just wasn't having it. Now, could this be a petty tit for tat after Trump came for him while on stage? Possibly. Is it indicative of a party that pretends to be unified but took months to get behind just one speaker, let alone their candidate for president? Yes, they're in shambles.
But you're facing a primary challenger right now in your race, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman, has just endorsed him, saying that you're, as she, and I'm quoting her now, these aren't my words, she said, "You're angry, disloyal MAGA traitor who was caught on camera trashing President Trump." When it comes to your party, what do you think is more important? Is it your conservative record or your support for Donald Trump?
Well, the last part of that is demonstrably false. I've never been caught on camera because I've never done it trashing President Trump. There's a reason why we kicked Marjorie Taylor Greene out of the Freedom Caucus last summer. So she's a disgruntled former member who has an axe to grind. She has some kind of deep-seated hatred towards the Freedom Caucus now. She's been exposed as the fraud and the liar that she is.
Okay, but Congressman,
she's upset because Kevin McCarthy was removed as Speaker, and she has a personal vendetta against people like me who didn't support Kevin McCarthy for Speaker. In terms of me having a primary challenge, I'm not entitled to the nomination. I had to earn it in 2020. I had to earn it in 2022. I have to earn it in 2024. And I believe the people of the 5th District won't let this seat be bought by allies of the former Speaker, by the swamp creatures from
okay,
D.C.
but can
and
I say
California.
one thing, because you don't like, you and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene don't see eye to eye, but you are on camera very critical of Donald Trump, and it caused Trump's campaign manager to claim that you wouldn't be electable when they were done with you.
Created by a campaign opponent who sliced it up and edited it to take out the complimentary praise statements that I said about President Trump. It's a highly edited video provided by a campaign operative for my
So you didn't say
opponent,
those
so
things that you're on camera saying? I mean, you're on camera.
If you take sentences and you take part of the sentence out, and you get a different conclusion from that sentence or a different inference from that sentence.
But on the topic of Trump's baffle of errors, why are more networks not covering it? I mean, it's not just a slip of the tongue here or there. It's constant, everyday, obvious errors that if Biden were to say, Fox News coverage would kick migrant caravans off the top spot. But because it's Trump and he's narcissistic about his own incompetence, it's just excused as part of his shoot from the hip diatribe that his base eats up.
Up those great skyscrapers, won 2 world wars. You know, we won world wars out of forts, Fort Benning, Fort this, Fort that, many forts. They changed the name. We won wars out of these forts. They changed the name. They changed the name of the forts. A lot of people aren't too happy about that. Defeated, he said, unacceptable. Yeah. No, they changed the name of a lot of our forts. We won 2 world wars out of a lot of these forts, and they changed the name. It's unbelievable.
He confused Nikki Haley with Nancy Pelosi on January the 6th. And if you say anything else, you're lying through your teeth.
How is he getting a pass on this? If conservatives are convinced that Joe Biden, the man who has overseen one of the best single-term economic recoveries that the country has seen.
They say the stock market will boom if I'm elected. If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
Okay. 12 seconds later.
Finish the week 10-year about 4.1. If Biden wins, you're going to have a stock market collapse, the likes of which you've never had. You will have a collapse.
Fox News alert here as we take a look at the markets. And the U.S. stock market continues to hit record high after record high.
Is in, quote, cognitive decline, then what do you call this?
They thought Bush, because Bush supposedly was a military person. Great. You know what? He was a military. He got us into the Middle East. How did that work out, right? But they all thought that Bush might win. Jeb. Remember Jeb? Thugs who have weaponized law enforcement to arrest their leading political opponent. They're leading by a lot, including Obama. I'll tell you what, you take a look at Obama and take a look at some of the things that he's done. This is the same thing. The country is very divided. Mueller report, I wish, covered the oranges, how it started. In the failing New York Times by an anonymous, gutless coward. They sacrifice every day for the furniture and future.
Thanks so much for watching. We're only a few subscribers short of 2 million subs. Please subscribe right now to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel for free and help us grow this unapologetically pro-democracy network.